What's up, Raf Gang? Welcome back to another movie experience, theater experience. My son and I are going to go watch The Matrix Resurrections, the fourth Matrix. We've watched all three Matrix. What did you say?
I said, oh crap. Relax, it's alright.
We've watched all three Matrix movies in the last 2 days, so we are jacked in, ready for this one. I hope it's good. I've been seeing some mixed reviews on this one, but I'm a purist in Matrix, so I'm definitely going to check it out myself, and I'll give you my honest reaction when I get out of this thing. Can't wait to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing Neo and Trinity once again, and to see some crazy action and some crazy stuff going on in this Matrix world. We'll see. How are they back? Let's find out. All right, guys. See ya. All right, Raf Gang. Just got out of the movie. Just got out of seeing Matrix Resurrections. I have a lot of feelings about this movie. Kind of trying to process this movie. Let's see. What should I say? All right. For me, I enjoyed part 2 and part 3. If you did not enjoy part 2 and part 3 of The Matrix, you might not like this one. If you're new to The Matrix, never seen it before, you might be confused about what's going on because seeing a lot of flashbacks to the first Matrix movies and stuff. I actually enjoyed that part. It was kind of nice seeing some nostalgia weaved into this movie. I enjoyed the new characters. I like the new girl, what she brought to this movie. The new Morpheus was cool. I like what he brought to this movie. It's a little quirky though. And seeing Keanu as Thomas Anderson again was definitely unique because he wasn't really the same guy. Definitely different. They do explain how they are brought back, which I wanted to see. That was good. If you are a Neo Trinity lover like myself, I love those two, you will enjoy this movie because that's the whole premise of this movie. Fighting was decent. Maybe not as stylized as the first, couple Matrix movies, but enjoyable. Good slow motion effects, which I liked. Like the slow-mo. Nothing groundbreaking as far as like bullet time goes, but some cool slow-mo and slow down scenes, which I enjoyed. Yeah, the new characters, some of them are good. Some of them, forgettable. In all, I give this, a 7 out of 10 for me. 7 out of 10. I'll go into spoilers later when I get home and I get a chance to think about this movie a little bit more. But love seeing Neo, love seeing Trinity. Those two, magical together. Yeah, really cool. We saw lots of stuff. Basically, this crammed a lot of stuff into this movie. It felt long, but it didn't feel long. Gotta say, the theater experience wasn't that good. The theater I was in was like the theater's down the hallway, right? Not the front and center theater you go into the monster screen. This movie was down the hall, middle of the aisle, or middle of the hallway to the right. And it was just a basic screen. Sound was not loud, no bass. The Raft Cave would blow. You know what? I gotta watch this movie again in the Raft Cave because it will be a much better experience when I see it again in the Raft Cave with louder sound, crisp picture, bright, more bass, butt kicker, all that stuff. Yeah, so I say if you like the Matrix movies, if you enjoyed part 2 and 3, go see it. If you only like part 1 and you don't like the others, maybe pass. Watch it at HBO Max. But I'm glad I spent money on this movie. I'm glad I gave it my money because seeing them was great. And there's some stuff in here that can go on to another one. There's some stuff they were talking about. I was like, what were those things? Okay, guys. That's my out of the theater reaction to The Matrix. You guys have a good day. Like, subscribe, share to see the next out of the theater experience, which might not be for a while. Raf out. See you guys. Now that I'm back home in the safe confinement of the Raft Cave, and I see my glorious home theater, I really appreciate why I should stay home and enjoy movies versus going out. You know that video I made a little bit ago. Definitely check it out. Why I don't go to the movies. This movie I definitely wanted to see in the theater because I really love the Matrix movies. I love the world that the Matrix is. I love the characters in the Matrix, and I'm happy to give them some money because hey, who knows if it will continue, and I want to see it continue for sure. Got home thinking about this movie a little bit more. I think that I wasn't enjoying it as much because, of course, the screen wasn't that special. Right? The theater I was in was quiet. Definitely wasn't turned up at all. There was no bass. I felt no bass at all. The explosions and the punches and the gunfire and all these things going on everywhere. I didn't feel that. And of course, there's people next to me, and they were coughing a few times. It just kind of seeps into your brain a little bit. I couldn't relax. I didn't even recline my seats all the way back. You know, these nice power recline seats, and you push the button and you lean back and you get comfy. No, my seat was straight flat. I was leaning more towards my son a little bit versus this dude. So, you know, taking those things in account, that's what diminishes my experience in the movie theater. So that right there is in my head. So I can't really focus on the movie completely 100% like I really wanted to. With that being said, I like this movie. I enjoyed Matrix 2 and Matrix 3 even. I enjoy these characters. Neo and Trinity, they're like yin and yang. They're so good together. And I wanted to see them together again, and I got that. This whole movie is basically figuring out how to reunite Neo and Trinity together to, once again, not let the Matrix control people and just all that stuff, right? We don't want that. That's what they're trying to do here. Now, it's really crazy. Spoilers. After the first trilogy is over and Neo went into the machine and all that stuff, the machines basically rebuilt Neo. You know, not rebuilt him, but I guess rebuilt him. You know, they can create babies, right? They can create organic material. So basically they recreated Neo, or Thomas Anderson again, and put him back in the pod, right? And they also recreated Trinity and put her back in the pod. But what the machines figured out is when these two are close together, it creates a lot of energy, right? And the machines love that. So they kept them in pods, not really close touching, but just close enough where they're in the vicinity of each other. And they rewrote the Matrix code, of course, because once, you know, part 3 was over, everything's wiped out. They rebuild it again. That's what the architect and the Oracle, they're in the machine to recreate. They're always there every time. Although the Oracle is not in this movie, which is kind of weird. Anyway, so they rewrote the Matrix, and Thomas Anderson doesn't look like Keanu Reeves, right? He's totally different. That way nobody recognizes him, right? But they made him a video game designer that wrote the first 3 Matrix games based on the movie and all the characters. So people would play that and be like, oh, this is so cool, and Neo and everything, and Trinity and all that, and Morpheus and everybody else. So everybody's living their lives, and he's a video game designer, and I think he's doing great. Everybody loves the Matrix movies. Just everybody's happy. But of course, Neo's still Neo, and he's learning little things here and there, and he's trying to figure out, I've done this before. This is like a part of my past. And he actually sees Trinity, Carrie-Anne Moss, but she's not Trinity. Her name is Tiffany, and she has two boys, and she's married, a husband. But when they met in that coffee shop and they shook hands, she's like, I met you before. And that's that connection. That's that connection they have. They still have it buried deep inside underneath all that Matrix code. And Neo wants, well, Thomas Anderson, he wants to break free from something's wrong, right? So as a video game designer, he wrote a code in the game for someone to find it, which was this new Morpheus character, right? This new actor. And this new actor actually is kind of like an AI that learned about Morpheus in the first 3 movies. So he kind of wants to like be that person to pull Thomas Anderson free, break Neo free, which is really interesting. And Yaya did a good job. He wasn't like serious, I'm going to be Morpheus to a T, but he said some of his lines, and he's kind of a little bit of goofy here and there, but his purpose is to get Neo that red pill so he can find him again, which is really cool. So anyway, the gist of the story is there's a new architect, and Agent Smith, his program is still inside, and he becomes that one dude, that one business guy that works with Keanu. So that's cool, their dynamic of Smith and Neo. And the real people in the real world that are following Neo, they help bring him back. They have their own ship and everything else. A lot of cool throwbacks in this movie. I really enjoyed seeing Niobe again. She's much older in this one, but she is the leader of another city that was created, not Zion, because Zion is destroyed. But there's another city that's hidden, for people to live at. So she's hard-nosed. I mean, she's just, she wants to protect the city no matter what. She's not going off the rails to try to defeat the machines or nothing like that. But it's good seeing her. It's good seeing Neo. He broke out of the pod, of course. He saw Trinity in another pod close, but he was taken away. But he really wants to free Trinity. But the other people are like, no, we can't do that. It was hard enough to get you out of there. You can't go back into Machine City and rescue you. You're not even a part of the whole funnel of humans. You're off in a different area, heavily guarded area. But hey, Neo wants her out, so they gotta make it happen. Neil Patrick Harris, his character, he is the counselor for Thomas Anderson. He was he was the smart one, right? Counselor. What do you call counselor? Whatchamacallit? Shrink? I don't know. Anyway, he runs the show. He makes everything happen. He's basically one of the designed this new Matrix to keep Neo in and Trinity in, to power up everything. So his scenes were cool. He's pretty powerful. I mean, he does this slow-mo stuff. Not even Neo is fast enough to get through. It's pretty wild. But overall, I enjoyed this movie. I'm gonna watch it again at home in the Raft Cave properly again. Crank it nice and loud, feel the explosions, feel the bass. There's a lot of good fight scenes, great slow-mo action, a lot of gunfights, and another cameo. The Merovingian returns in this one, but he's all old and decrepit and nasty. He's like, "Oh, you took everything from me. I had a perfect life in here," and he's all pissed. But he doesn't fight or nothing. He's just screaming at him while they're fighting. It was great. But good scenes with the new agent, or the new Smith, and Neo. And I really enjoyed the dojo scene with that new Morpheus and Neo. And Morpheus is like, "You better wake up, man." And he's beating him up. He's like, "Come on, if you want to save Trinity, you better fight." And Neo's like, "Oh." So Neo's got a lot of these force push moves now. He's not all about, doing the one-handed fights and all this stuff and seeing all these things. He's more of like, I can push bullets, I can stop bullets, I push you and everything. So anyway, guys, fast forward to the end. Neo is free, rescue Trinity, but she has to make a choice. She has to decide to become Trinity again, or decide to go back with her family and say, forget about it. She decides to be Trinity. She knows she's Trinity, kicks ass. Her and Neo back together again. Huge fight scene with police and everyone in the Matrix turning on them. Gotta escape. Awesome. And Trinity is a badass in this movie. She has powers that even Neo doesn't have. Love seeing those two together, especially at the very end when they're in their full glasses, trench coat look. They're so awesome. And they tell that new architect dude to basically shove it and make sure that the new Matrix is the way it should be. But there are some teases of the future. The suits. That's what the architect was referring to, the suits. The suits wanted you put back in the Matrix. So who are the suits? Interesting. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching some little spiel about the Matrix. If you love part two, if you enjoyed part 2 and 3, you'll enjoy this one. If you didn't like 2 and 3, like I said, you probably won't like this one. There are a lot of speaking, a lot of talking about what's going on, because you kind of have to fill in the blanks of what's going on here. Maybe not as much action, but there is good action in this one. And it just looks cool. I love the Matrix movies. I love the world that they're in. And of course, Neo and Trinity, those two together, makes the movie for me. So I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I saw it in the theaters, and I'm really going to enjoy watching it again. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to my spiel about the Matrix movies. Go see it for yourself. It's in theaters and HBO Max right now. So have fun. right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Home theater rules. Home theater rules. Man, it's going to be a while before I go to theaters. Yeah. Wrap out. See ya.